Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you for joining me for another video. I am not kidding you right now, I have a humdinger of a video, and I want to actually take a look back at a video that I made in February. That hindsight is everything, I know, and it didn't go exactly as predicted, but something, oh my goodness, it's really fascinating to look at the game that's being played right now. And I'm not necessarily saying with manipulation with China or anything like that. I'm just saying now that smarter money is in this, how is this affecting these cycles, this bull run, whatever you want to say. And so I want to take a look at that. But hey, nice price action today. I don't know what's going on with coin360.com right now. I know that I have recommended this website, but it seems to be about $500 lower for Bitcoin than the actual price is right now. I'm seeing on dodx.com, which is my favorite go-to place aside from TradingView to look at charts, that the price of Bitcoin is at 36,000 or so right now. Great to see. Nice to see some kind of a recovery from yesterday. It was definitely scary getting down to the lower 30s, and I've been maintaining despite what some popular TikToker may say that we're not going below 30. Now, could I be wrong about that? Absolutely, but I do believe that 30 is a great base. But just so you know, coin360.com, for some reason for Bitcoin right now is showing an inaccurate price. For Ethereum, it's 100% right. For other cryptos, it looks like that's exactly on track. But hey, here's the thing that I was thinking of, and I've just been trying to make sense of what's been going on these past few months, this past month in particular. Why was there no blow off top, and why did we crash when there was no blow off top, and where are we going from here? And so I've been looking at this chart here, and if you compare this to 2013, am I going to even be able to do that? Not on this chart. But what I was expecting was some kind of blow off top. I mean, 2013 is barely a blip on here. But if you remember, 2013 had two blow off tops. It had one in April of 2013, blow off top, shot up to $200+ per coin, and then got all the way down under $60, and that was kind of a fake out. And then later on the year, it took about 6 months from the April peak to recover, to get back to that all-time high. Once it broke through that all-time high, shot up over $1,000, and then that was the end of the bull run. We did not have a blow-off top this time around. I know in comparison to previous charts, that certainly looks like one, but it's just we hovered around a certain range for several months and then went down. And I just trying to make sense of this. What happened? Why did we not have a blow-off top? I think the conclusion is just that, honestly, look, it's we're smarter now. We have past history to know when to expect a blow-off top to happen. And since we have past history, we were like, all right, well, I'm not buying Bitcoin now because it's about to blow off, and then it didn't. And so here's a video that I made in February, on February 23rd, basically predicting what would happen in April. All right. Percent correction. If it's like 2013, which it's looking more and more like that, we are going to have a sharp rise in these coming months to a point, and then have something that looks like, oh, that was the crash. And it won't be. It'll be a massive fake out. That's exactly what I think. And so what's the number I'm thinking in my mind? And we'll have 25% corrections along the way. That number might be $100,000 Bitcoin. I mean, if this happens in the next couple months, which I think it will, like maybe we'll hit $100,000 in April, and maybe a lot of people are going to see that as a major psychological point, and there'll be some kind of a sell-off, especially in China. China doesn't have a hodling mentality. They're like, I'm going to take my profits, and whatever. Okay, China, we'll buy your cheap Bitcoin. And maybe it'll go from 100,000 to 50,000 or something like that. I don't know. Maybe it won't be that severe, but there will be one major correction, and a lot of people, a lot of naysayers are going to be like, I told you so, you shouldn't have gotten into Bitcoin. And I'll just be holding it this whole time, being like, okay, cool, I'll buy more, I'll gladly buy this dip. And then After that, the action will really get heated. So I'm leaning more towards now that that's going to happen, that we'll hit 100,000, that's going to be a major barrier, that maybe there's going to be a major correction there, and then after that we'll shoot up like crazy to 200. All right. Dare I? Okay. So was I wrong? I mean, this is the thing that I'm thinking through right now. I was wrong. Yeah, we didn't hit $100,000, but we did have that major correction, and now people are saying exactly what I said was going to happen in that video. People were saying, well, that's the end of the bull run. And no, I disagree. I just think it's like, look at how long we hit $58,000 on February 21st. I predicted in that video that perhaps we would shoot up to $100,000 in April. We topped out at $64,900 on April 13th or 14th, somewhere around that range is when we topped out at $64,000. If it was all retail in here and there was no institution, no smart money in here, I am absolutely convinced that sometime between March 14th and April 13th, we would have shot up like crazy to $100,000. And then we would have seen a major correction, a fake out where we would have gone down and people would have said the bull run's over. And so now, instead of shooting up to $100,000 because we have the smart money in here, we still saw that major correction. And what I've been maintaining this whole time is that this is a fake out. That the cycle is not over. This bull run is not over. It could end in November. It could end in May of 2022. But now is a great time to buy some of that cheap Bitcoin. I wish that I had the same kind of calmness that I said I was going to have in that video, where I was just, all right, well, I'll gladly buy some cheap Bitcoin. It's been a rough ride. I mean, I'm sure that's been the case for you too. But the thing that I'm going to consistently maintain until the end is that this is not the end of the bull run, that we didn't peak at $64,000 and the bull run is now over. Now, is it possible that that $64,900 peak is the peak for 2021? You put a gun to my head, I'm going to say no. I'm going to tell you, no, I don't think that that is the peak for 2021. I do think that's going to be the peak for quite a while. I think throughout the summer, we are not going to see a $64,900 Bitcoin, but at some point, my guess would be like October, November, we will cross, maybe even sooner than that, we'll cross that $64,000 barrier, and then we'll test $100,000. And I'm still on record saying $200,000. And maybe that's a little too high, because what if, maybe this is going to be the title of my video. What if we will never have another blow off top again for Bitcoin because we're just too smart? That is on the table as a possibility. So, instead of $200,000, maybe it's $150,000, maybe it's $130,000, something like that. Regardless, the price will go higher at some point this year or early next year. Of that, I am convinced. Another thing that has me convinced, wrapped Bitcoin. Do you know about wrapped Bitcoin? I haven't really paid a lot of attention to wrapped Bitcoin. I know the function of it, that it's wrapped onto Ethereum so that you can practically use Bitcoin on Ethereum's network, and have all the benefits of the transferability of all that. But listen, 1.3% of Bitcoin's supply, the 21 million supply, has now been wrapped onto Ethereum. So here's the quick take. A growing amount of Bitcoin circulating supply is being tokenized on Ethereum. The most popular version is wrapped Bitcoin, which accounts for 80% of tokenized Bitcoin. And so 240,000 Bitcoin has now been wrapped onto Ethereum. 1.3% of its circulating supply, 1.1% of its eventual total supply. That's amazing, and you know, and it's increased by $100,000 since the start of the year and has been growing at a rapid clip. This is Bitcoin that is being taken off the table. And here's my point with this: we have Satoshi Nakamoto, 1 million Bitcoin that's most likely gone forever. We have 4 to 6 million Bitcoin that's lost forever. We have Grayscale with their 600,000 plus Bitcoin. We have the Gemini twins. We have MicroStrategy. We have this ever increasing pool of Bitcoin that is going to be wrapped up. I didn't want to say wrapped, and that's the word that came to my mind. That's going to be locked up. That's the word I was thinking. Locked up forever. And is wrapped Bitcoin locked up forever? Not necessarily. However, it is growing rapidly. People want to use Bitcoin on Ethereum's platform. This is the way to do it. And it's growing. It's not decreasing. When that decreases, I'll reevaluate. But I could easily see this turn into 2% or 3% or 4%, something like that. And that means more Bitcoin is off the table. What about when an ETF launches? What about when 401ks, pensions add Bitcoin to their portfolios? Do not sell your Bitcoin. This is not financial advice, okay? This is not financial advice, but I believe you would be dumb to sell your Bitcoin right now. And now we're seeing sovereign states added to this. El Salvador approves the Bitcoin law, giving Bitcoin status as legal tender. I don't know if you've been following any of this on Twitter. I'm not necessarily predicting a massive domino effect here, but a lot of South American countries and Central American countries seem to be following El Salvador's lead here with their leaders, at the very least, adding laser eyes to their Twitter profiles. There is a movement that is brewing. It's growing in South America, and that's where it has to happen. Unbanked countries like South America and Africa and certain parts of Asia, where this is just such a blessing to them, for them to not have their own. When you're talking about the U.S. dollar being a melting ice cube, these currencies are like a melting ice cube on Venus. You know, it's like for them to have a safe haven like Bitcoin. I am so very much in their corners. I am rooting for them, and yes, it makes perfect sense for these countries to be adding this as legal tender, for them to add to their portfolios. El Salvador, I believe, wants to add 1.5 billion or 150 million. I think it's 150 million dollars of worth of Bitcoin to their reserves, and that would make sense for these other countries to follow suit. I've heard things about Paraguay is pursuing that there's movements in Brazil, in Argentina. There's other ones too. I think Colombia and Venezuela as well. Maybe not Venezuela. I know that they actually have some pretty harsh crypto regulation. Have fun staying poor, Venezuela. But this is growing, and I wouldn't be surprised if over the early part of this decade, certain third world countries just really flocked to Bitcoin, and then over time, over the 2030s or so, more institutionalized countries would follow suit. And that really excites me, as far as this is the kind of wealth redistribution that I am absolutely in favor of. I am not in favor of stealing money from people, but poorer people being in positions where they are forced to make wiser decisions with their money, and this is a great opportunity for that. Last thing I want to cover: MicroStrategy ups Bitcoin bond sale to $500 million, and so I tweeted this. I retweeted something. $1.6 billion were offered to MicroStrategy from various institutions wanting exposure to Bitcoin that don't have any exposure. And so they upped their bond sale. MicroStrategy did from $400 million to $500 million. If that doesn't communicate to you some kind of thirst, these institutions, they can't, for various reasons, they can't buy Bitcoin right now. They can't add that to their asset sheets. There's a bunch of loops that they're trying to overcome. There's the Elon FUD that has a potential HR issue with this, and so now we have MicroStrategy. You know, what's the next best thing that I'm going to do? I'm going to buy MicroStrategy. Last I saw, Morgan Stanley, for instance, owns 10.9% of MicroStrategy. Why is that? It's because they love MicroStrategy, whatever MicroStrategy does? No, it's because they want Bitcoin, but they can't have some yet, but they will down the road. Okay, so we are still very, very early on. When it comes to institutional investment, when it comes to nations investing in this, are you seriously going to sell your Bitcoin right now? Seriously. Are you seriously even considering selling your Bitcoin? I understand selling some altcoins, some crap coins that don't actually have any value. I'm looking at you, Dogecoin. But I think it's not the wisest decision in the world to be selling your Bitcoin right now. And so that is all I have for today. Have fun becoming rich. Hold on to your Bitcoin. I don't care even if I'm wrong and it goes to $20,000, $18,000. See that. See, there should be green in your eyes. This is not financial advice. There should be green in your eyes. You should get very, very greedy at that time and stack those sats. But even now is a good time to stack some sats. Dollar cost average your way in. Have a great rest of your week. I hope you enjoyed this video. Love to hear your thoughts. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Peace.